Okay, so you joined me in the shed, just setting things up for tomorrow. So we've got the rods there. Can't show you what's on the table because that's the prototype and you're not supposed to see that yet. We've got some boilies defrosting there. These are just the 15mm Pacific Tuna CC More boilies. There we go. We are making the bread bait. So this is going to be the bread bait episode. So I'm going to basically take you through quickly about how I'm making up these mixes. Okay, so basically this is what's in the mix at the moment. It's what we've used before. It's just blended up bread into crumb. And then some sweet corn as well, but this time frozen sweet corn. It's much easier to buy a bag of frozen sweet corn, so you can use it in bulk. You get a lot more bait than using tins, which is what I've been using before. So what we're going to do is to break up the bread, put it into the food processor. So the next step is basically just keep doing this bread. Empty the crumb back into the bucket, keep giving it a mix around, and yeah, that's basically what we're going to do until we've done all the bread. We're just going to use a whole loaf for this one. So yeah, this is the sweet corn we've been using, and then this is the table salt that I've just put in, just to add a little bit of extra to the mix. Now the final touch is to add in some tuna. Now the reason we're adding this in is because we've been using tuna boilies on the session. So we're going to add a little bit of real tuna into this mix, and there'll be a nice consistency throughout our bait mix. Just going to chuck all that in there. Brilliant. So yeah, there's our bait mix for tomorrow. Sweet corn, breadcrumbs and tuna. Brilliant. Okay, so welcome everyone to the fishing factory. Today we are doing a bit of filming. We are down at Newbridge Lakes again. Today we're fishing the Harrif pond, same as last time. Last time we were fishing the peg just over there behind me. So this time we're across on the opposite bank, just fishing the same spots again. I'll go through the tactics and stuff in a minute, but as you can see down there in the net, we've already got one. So yeah, we'll show you him, get the rod back out, and hope for the best. Literally, the rod was in about, don't know what, a minute, and then it ripped off. So yeah, we'll have a look at this one, get the rod back out, and see if we can get a few more. Yeah, so just the same as last session then. It's only a small one of about a pound or two. Harrif is full of these little guys. But we're only using match tactics today. We caught this one on the float rod, so it's a brilliant fight even though it's only small. We have got the carp rods for later, and we're going to be using some tactics to hopefully get into a few of the big ones. You know, there are a couple of sort of 10+ pound carp in here. There's an 18, I think is the biggest. So yeah, hopefully we can get into a few of the big ones today. But first one after about a minute of casting in, not a bad result. Let's get him back and carry on fishing. Alright, so I'm just about to recast the feeder rig, and I just thought I'd run through a little bit about what I'm doing today. I think the best place to start off with is the sort of technique that I'm using. I've been basically trying to develop a few different techniques and a few different methods different to how I normally fish. Normally I just fish with my 2 carp rods, which I have got with me today, but we're not going to use them yet. Normally I would just fish with those and then I'd just be fishing out in the lake, both rods, you know, your standard carp setup, but a lot of the time there are other more effective ways of fishing for the carp. So this is what I've basically come up with, and there are a few reasons for this which we'll go into later. So this is what we're fishing with today. Now it's a simple feeder setup. So I've just got my rig here, just a simple bottom bait rig with a Pacific tuna boilie. That's what we're using for bait today, Pacific tuna. It is my favourite bait to use. The feeder itself is actually homemade. So what it is it's a 1/3 ounce inline lead, which I've basically just modified with some steel wire to basically create it into a bit of a feeder. So I'll just pack my bait around that, and then that'll act as my feeder. And then we've got a nice short little bottom bait rig there. This setup itself is my new sort of modular setup that I'm testing out. All it is a modified Chod Heli buffer sleeve with a free running ring swivel and then a fish safe back bead setup. The idea with this is that obviously now it's in feeder configuration, but I've got several different methods that I can use on this setup. As we've got it now in feeder configuration, that's for sort of my bottom bait fishing, feeder fishing, stuff like that. But I have also got several different floats that I can use. So I could fish it in a surface fishing configuration, or I could fish it with the float but then have the hook link basically coming down water, and then I can fish that at several depths like a normal sort of match float rig. So it's very versatile in that way, and all I have to do to change the configuration is simply change the hook link to whatever hook link I want, a long surface or deep fishing hook link, and then swap out the little link clip there, just unclip it from the swivel and then clip on one of the floats. And all floats have these same clips on them. So it's a very versatile method. The inspiration for this setup came from the past few years of me basically testing out float ledgering setups. As a project, which I'll go into in more detail in the future, I've been working on some dedicated float ledgering rigs for carp fishing. So that's what I've been designing. I have been testing a few float ledgering setups over the years as well. I mean, in the first video that we had, you might have seen I was going to go and do a bit of float ledgering, but it didn't exactly pan out because I casted it in the tree and it snapped off. Now unfortunately I was a bit gutted because after that I realised that I'd had that float ledgering set up on this rod for over a year and I caught numerous fish on it, so that was a bit unfortunate. But basically all we have to do to swap it out for a float ledgering setup is take off the feeder obviously, and then replace the buffer sleeve with an inline weight and then put a float on the swivel instead. So the float ledgering setup is a great one for mobile carp fishing, and that's what I've been looking into. I've been using it because normally the float ledgering rig is a sort of match setup, but all it is it's a ledgering rig, and instead of putting it on your alarm like you normally would, you have a float on your line as well, and that's your indication. Now that float ledgering indication means that in terms of a carp rig, if you have a proper dedicated designed setup for it, you could be basically moving that rig around constantly and you don't have to faff around with alarms and pods and things like that. So it's very easy to be mobile with such a rig setup. So today we're starting off on the one rod on the feeder. We've picked a spot out in the lake, we've been putting some bait in and we've been building up the swim. In terms of the bait for today, obviously we're using the bread bait. Now this is probably the best bread bait mix I've used so far. It's breadcrumb and sweet corn like normal, but in here we've also got a tin of real tuna. So that's what's in the bucket, and that's what we've been using obviously on the feeder, packing it round like we used pack bait before. Exactly the same principle, only obviously it works a bit better with the feeder. So the next part of the baiting strategy is we're using these. Now these are halibut pellets, and I used to use these loads when I first started out fishing. I've got a lot of confidence in this bait, and what I'm doing with it is obviously we're using the bread bait to build up a feeding frenzy, build up really quick bites, because that's what's happened this morning. We've been using this morning and we've already had 2 bites really quickly. It's great for quick bite tactics. It just kicks up a feeding frenzy in the water and the carp go absolutely mental for it. The only issue with that is because there's not a lot of proper solid food items in it, you've only really got a bit of sweet corn in there. There's nothing to keep them down there preoccupied feeding on your spot, and obviously that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to use it to first obviously get a few quick bites and build up confidence in the spot, get a few fish feeding, and then I'm going to start introducing little bits of bait to get them feeding a bit more confidently and picking up little bits and grubbing about. And then once it's done that, the good old boilies, right? When we get onto the boilies, that's when we're going to be using the carp rods. So we're just going to start with the one rod, build up the confidence, build up a bit of a feeding frenzy in the swim, and then we're just going to use little and often PVA stringers of boilies and stuff, and that's basically going to try and single out a few of the bigger fish. So that's the tactics for today. Okay, so this is probably going to be the last update for this session until I get home, and the reason for that is because my camera battery is about to go flat and I don't have a spare. Idiot. Quick little update, basically, we've got the feeder rod in, we're just about to put some more bait in, top it up, we're just baiting up little and often, so pouch full of pellets and a ball of the bread bait, and we'll just keep that going in every sort of maybe 10-15 minutes or so. We had 2 bites this morning really quickly. One on the feeder, which was only a small little carp of about £1, and then one on the bamboo rod, which was a carp, lovely mirror of about £3 or £4. And we've not had anything since. It's just been liner's really. Now if you want to see the fish from the bamboo rod, you will have to go check out the bamboo rod project video. But yeah, so that's basically what we had this morning, and yeah, that's about it really. The rest of the session will basically just be caught on photos and maybe the odd clip, but I'm going to basically have to try and conserve this camera battery because it's about 10 o'clock, 10:15 now, and I've still got a lot of hours to go. So yeah, we'll see how we go, but this will probably be the last update until we get home. So I've literally just turned the camera off doing that final little update because my camera battery is about to go flat, and literally I've just had one. It's only small, about £1 or so, but yeah, great. Third fish, so let's get some more bait in, rig back out and see if we can keep these bites coming, and see if we can get in some of the bigger ones, get the carp rods out there. There's the little guy. It's the third fish of the session. He's only small, but if we can get through a few of these little ones, maybe get into some of the bigger ones. Off we go, mate. Result. Alright, so just real quickly, we've just left the swim, we've put some bait in and taken the rods out, and we're just off for a walk to the big lake. We've got a session booked at the end of the month on peg 4. Now we have fished this peg before and I'll show you where it is in a minute. Alright, so this here is peg 4. This is where we're going to be fishing at the end of the month. We've got a 48-hour session booked. So last time we were here, James was on the left and I was on the right. And then that over there is another peg, and then just in front of that tree, because the cabin is over there, just in front of that tree there, there's a set of pads, and we just cast towards them pads, and that's where I've had our bites from before. I actually caught my PB on this peg. I was casted just over there to the pads, and then yeah, my PB was £19 7 ounce, I think it was. So hopefully this year we can get a 20 plus as my goal. Hey, we've got one in the net. Right, so we've just had a bit of chaos. Not having anything for a few hours. Both rods have just ripped off. I couldn't keep a rod in the water, and if you can see, the camera will pick it up, we have 2 carp bottom of my landing net. So let's get these guys out and we'll have a look at them. One's only small, but the other's a bit of a decent sized one, so probably the biggest one of today. So yeah, let's have a look at these guys. Here he is, little guy. So this was the second fish we had. I literally just recast the rod after the first fish, and it was away within about a minute. So let's chuck him back. Let's get the big one out. So it's the biggest one we've had today, coming about 4 or 5 pounds. First one we had a double bubble. So yeah, nice one, let's get him back. Alright, so it's about time to start packing away. And we've just had one, so we've got a little one in the net again. So that's 9 fish today, so can't really complain about that, can you? Unfortunately though, this is the second time this has happened today. It wiped out all my rods, so at the moment now I've had to cut one of them off. I didn't have any more boilies anyway for the hook bait change, so we're just fishing single hook baits now. Just out there in the middle of the island, we've got a white Nova Special Mini on the low pop-up rig, and then we've got a the last of our CC Moore Pacific Tuna Boilies as the final hook bait out there as well, so yeah. Right, quickly, because he's flapping about, here he is, another little one. This is the 9th fish of the session, so yeah, lovely, let's get him back.